you guys do your homework, homework on rate of change using Desmos, all right? So basically, I told you guys in class that you should probably use Desmos or a calculator to help you solve for these problems, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it on Desmos. So here's your guys' homework number 5. So let's say you guys have a problem like this where it says g of x equals 5 over 4x to the third, right? So first, we should probably use our rate of change formula. Now, if you guys don't know your rate of change formula using function notation, this is your a value, and this is your b. This is your a value, and that is your guys' b. So it'll show up in a minute, but that's a and b. And then what you guys want to use is use this one. So average rate of change formula, it's going to be f of b minus f of a all over b minus a, which is basically the two y values you're finding over the two x values, right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But this is how it looks like in function notation on the interval from a to b, okay? So you guys are going to be using Desmos to help you out. So if you did it, so if you wrote it notationally here, it'd be g of 1.1 minus g of 1 all over 1.1 minus 1. Now, how do we use the Desmos to help you out? So trust me when I say this, this is going to save you guys a bunch of time. So let's go to the graphic calculator. Now, I'm going to write the function first. Now, in Desmos, make sure you're listening to this. In Desmos, you have to use the f function. Even though I know that we're dealing with the g function over here, in Desmos, you have to use the f function. So we got, where's my keyboard? Okay, f of x equals, so I'm going to write the function, which is 5 over 4x to the third, right? So there's my function. I'm going to show you guys two ways how you could do this, okay? One, you can make a table of values, and then you guys could just, so this table of values is for this function. So you could figure out what 1.1 is, and it'll spit it out, and you can figure out what 1 is, and it's 1.25. So then when you write this out, you could do, right? So remember the point, I gotta do division. So this one, I'll just write it out, 0.9391435 minus 1.25. So that's the f of 1.1 and minus the f of 1 over 1.1 minus 1. So that's one way you guys could do it, is the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that's how you could use it using Desmos. Okay, here's another way you guys can do it. You can use this notation we did right here and use that for Desmos. So now remember, in Desmos, though, it's got to be the f function. So put division to make the numerator and denominator present. So I'm just going to write f of 1.1 minus f of 1 all over 1.1 minus 1. So do you guys see how much easier that is when you're using Desmos to calculate this stuff, right? So our final answer here is going to be negative 3.1085. Now remember, you chop it off, right? So this 6.4, you just chop it off, right? So that would be your guys' final answer. So this is the power of using Desmos. So you guys can either use the table, to help you guys solve it out, or you guys could just write it out using the average rate of change formula in function notation. F of b minus f of a all over b minus a, which, you know, you guys, this is really your y2, y1, x2 minus x1. But you should be very used to looking at the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 in that form. Okay, so there's one. Let me show you guys another example on how to do. So that's 4 questions that you guys have to do for your homework. Let's look at this though. Okay, here it says estimate the rate of change of each function at the given point. So what you have to do is you have to find the rate of change at a singular point. Now remember, in class, if you find the rate of change at a point, you need to use another point, because remember, to find a slope you need 2 points, right? Theoretically. So what we're going to use is, first we're going to use this value. So let's figure out what g of 1 is. So g of 1, when you guys plug it in, so let's use Desmos to help solve for this, right? Well, I'll just use Desmos for this whole thing. So so let's write down the function, right? Now, do you notice how it says g and it's using g function, and then it's using t as a variable? In Desmos, you can't use t. You just have to use f as the function and then x as the variable. So f of x, which is the same thing as g of t, it's just different function variables, equals to ln parentheses for x. So even though the original function uses t, you have to use x in Desmos. So now you can make a table of values and then figure out what 1 is, which is that. Now remember, you have to select another point. So I will use a point such as 1.001, something really close, right? So you could use a table to help you guys solve for that, and then, right, you just do your y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's using a table. You can also just use the formula, right? The rate of change formula. So for us, it's going to be g of 1. Well, so we're going to go from 1 to 1.001, right? So it's going to be, sorry, not g of 1, g of 1.001 minus g of 1 all over 1.001 minus 1. So remember, this is your a, this is your b, and remember you're using this one, f of b minus f of a all over b minus a. So there's that, and now let's just plug it into our Desmos. So f of 1.001 minus f of 1 all over 1.001 minus 1. And then you guys would get your answer to be 0.9995. Okay, so, mess around with it, see how you guys do. I mean, at some point we are going to do this in class, but see how you guys do with this and get used to using Desmos to help you guys out, okay? Hopefully this helps. See you guys soon. Peace.